Let's close this model and open another one that will demonstrate some improvements we did around abstract and pure virtual. The first thing you notice when I expanded this package here is that there are some names now shown in italic, and those of you that are familiar with UML class diagrams and have used them here, you know that already before we used italic here to denote an abstract class, and italic for an operation means it's pure virtual. But we did now the similar changes here in the Project Explorer so that you, without having to open the diagram, can immediately see that these classes are abstract here, some of these. And the interface is, since an interface basically is an abstract class in C++, we also use italics for showing that name. So one difference compared to previously now is that you no longer have to set the abstract property manually for a class that contains a pure virtual operation. So as soon as a class has a pure virtual operation, either locally defined or inherited from an interface or another class, then the class will be considered implicitly abstract, and this checkbox will be grayed out in the modifier section so that you can't unselect it, because that would be a bit inconsistent to say that the class is not abstract while it has a pure virtual operation. And this of course also works for capsules. So here I have a capsule where I have also created this pure virtual operation, and in the same way this capsule is marked as implicitly abstract and you cannot unmark it. If we look at the example you see here in the diagram, we have a class 1 that implements an interface 1, which has an operation foo. And of course you can modify things here to make this. So now you see that class 1 is not marked in italic. And if you click here, you see that it's not abstract. The reason is, of course, that it implements all the operations defined in the interface. So we test the operation foo there. But if you, for example, would add an attribute to this operation like this, then actually you're no longer implementing the interface, and now you see that the class becomes abstract again and shown as italics here. The diagram doesn't immediately update sometimes when you do changes like this, because it's quite complex to fully analyze all the changes that may cause a difference in abstractness. So you can always reopen the diagram to get the correct italics in case you are not seeing it immediately. In most cases it updates automatically, but there are, when you, for example, change the signature of a function in the inheritance hierarchy, it doesn't detect that immediately. Yeah, and then if you remove that, again, that attribute, now again the class is implementing. Same here, that you don't always get it immediately refreshed. If you check here now, you see now it's no longer abstract here in this property page. So this is an improvement we did in the user interface, but we also did the same thing in the model compiler. So we'll show you this slide. So, and in particular this warning here. So most of you have probably noticed that if you previously add a pure virtual operation in a class that is not marked as abstract, you would get a warning by the model compiler saying something like, this operation cannot be pure virtual because the owning classifier is not abstract. And that was a bit tedious, because then you had to go select the class, make it abstract, and then this warning would go away. And the consequence of the warning would be that the model compiler would ignore treating this operation as pure virtual and generate it as a usual regular virtual operation, which in most cases is not what you wanted. So now you don't need to do anything. The model compiler will understand that as soon as there is a pure virtual operation, the class will be abstract. And I can actually generate the code here just to see that we don't get any such warnings anymore. And I will also navigate to the code to show how it now is generated. And actually, there was no difference compared to when last time I generated code here. But you see, I didn't get any warnings. And if I now navigate to the source code body here, you see that even if this class is not explicitly marked as abstract, the model compiler understands, thanks to the presence of the pure virtual operation, that it is an abstract class. And that's why it generates it like this: abstract init, abstract copy, abstract move. And the same support exists if it inherits this pure virtual operation from some other class. Yes, and then also as you can see, in addition to showing pure virtual operations with the italic font, we also added the syntax =0 afterwards, same syntax as in C++. And that makes it even more obvious here that this is a pure virtual operation, but it also has the benefit that, for example, if you create another function here or operation, you can immediately type here =0, and by doing that you set it up to pure virtual, so you don't have to click and go in property view and mark it as pure virtual. And of course, same thing here. If you want to remove it, you can either just unselect the checkbox, but you can also just edit here in the signature, and the pure virtual will go away. This can, for example, be useful if you're using this page here, where you have a list of operations, and you can just go in here and edit it, something that you would like to do, make pure virtual, by adding the =0, and you see the checkbox is updated automatically.